The reason why death sentence was pronounced as charge, we were very well equipped with weapons, not just weapons, as in Russian-made weapons. Weapons like the T-55 armor tank carrier, the GPMG. These were weapons we fought with. The mine detector machine. That machine can detect a mine or a bomb from 300 meters. We go to fight and then we come back, we feel as if nothing happened. But meanwhile, we have caused destruction, like deep destruction in enemy's camp. We did bad things to terrorists. I wouldn't lie to you, let me be honest.
Don't mention them.
I can't mention them, but we did dirty. Before you know, they will tell us to bring the detector machine back to the headquarters. Before you know, one or two, before you know, weapons, we were empty now. We had only the rifle, our rifles now, normal rifles. So each time we go for attack, we discover how difficult it is, you understand, to succeed. Because without those machines, it will be very difficult to be successful in any mission. At that point, we said if we don't get those weapons back, that we are going to terminate the mission. When we noticed that the request was not met, we became demoralized. Things are happening in your country. See kidnappers everywhere. See bandits. Are there bastards in our country where we have men? My men do. I just pray that the government, revisit our case, and then you see and you hear how the game plays.
Why did the army put a death sentence on your head? What did you do?
Yes, the army put a death sentence on my head and that of 53 other special forces soldiers. Not just fat leg soldiers, trained combatant special forces, to make 54 special forces soldiers. From 101 battalion, we were deployed in Northeast as at the time of Goodluck Jonathan. That time was even when terrorism in Nigeria was at its peak. Why we went for courses and came back, our countenance changed. Our mode of operation changed. We began to see terrorists as deep threats, not just threats, deep threats to national security. And then we were very well equipped with weapons, not just weapons, as in Russian-made weapons. Weapons like the T-55, the armor tank carrier, and the GPMG, the BMG, and the anti-aircraft machine guns. These were the weapons we fought with. Then another type of gadget we had that was very effective was the mine detector machine. That machine can detect a mine or a bomb from 300 meters. And once the detector machine detects the mines, automatically the vehicle stop. Our convoy stop. Then our engineers then go down, track that IED. It is called IED, improvised electronic device. It's a very deadly bomb. Very deadly. So once our engineer tracks it down, it is gone. It is over. So that was the usefulness of weapons for special forces soldiers.
It was provided by President Goodluck Jonathan.
Yes, President Jonathan actually. What I love about President Jonathan is this. He normally goes deep to ask questions about what soldiers need. He goes deep to ask, and then once they ask, and then it is told, he give order for those things to be made necessary, to be made available rather. So and once they're available, when you see there are some weapons you fight with, as you are fighting with those weapons, your morale is high. Your morale is very high. If you see in terms of welfare, Jonathan provided us, there was enough welfare for us, more than enough welfare. Do you know that we go to fight and then we come back, we feel as if nothing happened? But meanwhile, we have caused destruction, like deep destruction in enemy's camp. It got to a point when we don't wear casual uniform like the regular soldiers. We go on black. We go on black undercover. There was a time the Boko Haram informants started murmuring and then saying that for instance, when we're at Ngoshe, there's a place called Ngoshe.
Which state?
Borno State. Yes, Goza local government. Goza. We were deployed there, and do you know that place was a stronghold? They passed there to do their terrible deeds. They caused havoc. They passed through that route to cause havoc. But once we went there for deployment, everything changed. Their movement was trapped. We don't sleep. You sleep with one eye and open one eye like this, and you can't sleep. You can't sleep. That was what we were trained for. Some of us trained in India, while some were trained in Pakistan.
Where were you trained?
Pakistan. So You see, this issue of training, as I'm talking to you now, 53 other of my colleagues are still on standby to date. What I mean 53 dreaded soldiers. If those 54 plus me 54, if we mount a location with weapons, just leave the rest. Leave the rest activity for us. Just leave the rest for us. So it was really a terrible issue. But when the issue that led to the death sentence was actually the fact that, you see those weapons I talked to you about earlier, that was provided, because when we landed Northeast, the first question that was asked was what we needed by this then 7 div GOC. That time, when we listed everything, surprisingly, we saw everything we listed, we provided. If you see morale, we don't deploy in a place for so long. We deploy anywhere we deploy. We don't stay long there. Our own is to go and make peace and create stability. So, do you know, we were so rugged that even terrorists started murmuring. They started murmuring. I'm telling you, they were even threatening the villagers that if they see them communicate with us, if they see them go close to us, this one, that threat. Until there was a day they came. That's in Goshe. They came and attacked. When they came, the attack, that place was it is rocky. It's like a hill, rocky hill. When they came for that fight, what they saw was not what they expected. They met stronghold of weapons firing at them at exclusive range, and the fire mechanism was so tough that they withdrew back. And after that, they came again. And you know, the funny thing is this: before we lost a soldier, it took for like 7 months after deployment before we started losing soldiers. And out of soldiers we lost, imagine a team of 120 soldiers. Imagine that those four were missing. Imagine, out of 120 for that period of time.
President Goodluck Jonathan period.
Jonathan was a fantastic president.
People had enough ammunition.
Ammunition is the bullet too. You will be saying ammunition. Ammunition is bullet too.
Okay, ammunition means bullet. Okay, people had enough weapons.
Ammunition is like granite. It was surplus. The weapons were there. Do you know their informant will come to the camp to observe what we are having as weapons before they come to attack?
How do they come?
Well, let me tell you. You know, it is like a village terrain. That place is like a village terrain where people, go about their normal day activities, and then when the informants come, they will dress like villagers. You won't know now. Then they will be observing now. You won't know. Then they go feed them and tell them, those men are very rugged. They are prepared. Those men, that place is no way. They won't come. But once they come and notice that you are carrying maybe all these Chinese-made weapons, they will come. Once they come and see something like maybe all these refurbished made weapons, they will not come. And they will come. But once they come and see Russian-made weapons, nah, they won't. So, as I'm talking to you now, we out of let's say frustration, right? Last year, January, we were summoned by the army to the headquarters, and then we had to apply for voluntary discharge stuff.
I think you're rushing this. What led to you being summoned?
Sorry. The reason why we were summoned, or the court martial, it was death sentence now. The reason why death sentence was pronounced as charge, mutiny. It was mutiny, and it is one of the highest charges in the military. After some time, the issue is those weapons we were given later were taken away from us. That mine detector machine, we just woke up from, before you know it, and order from above. That's why to bring the weapon. Before you know, they will tell us to bring the what's it called, the detector machine back to the headquarters. Before you know, 1 or 2, before you know, weapons, we were empty now. We had only the rifle, our rifles now, normal rifles, and the GPMG machine gun. You see that anti-aircraft and branding machine guns, all those ones were taken away from us. So each time we go for attack, we discover how difficult it is, you understand, to succeed in operations. Because without those machines, it will be very difficult to be successful in any mission. You understand my point? So the issue with that charge was we requested that we be given those weapons are given back to us. So in order for us to continue fighting, you understand, that was the actual issue that happened. Before you knew it, like Joko, like play, you know, soldiers requested for weapon, right? And then the next thing was that they invited us over.
What did you guys do?
We requested for weapon back. Those weapons that were given to us by Jonathan, President Jonathan. You know, after we didn't see those weapons.
Was it after?